Hey guys, it's David from Automotive Press, and guess what? I'm in Stuttgart, Germany. Why? Well, this is the global headquarters for Porsche, and I'm here to do all kinds of things this week. I'm going to be doing a factory tour, which is right behind the Porsche sign over there. It's the original factory, still producing 911s. And of course, we have the beautiful and amazing Porsche Museum here. And this is where I'm going to take you right now. I'm going to do this live stream style. You're going to follow me and basically pretend you're with me, so I can show you everything. And also this year is the 50th anniversary of a Porsche 911 Turbo. So Turbo in general, it's 50th anniversary. They've got some really cool cars over there to show you what the 50th anniversary is all about. But right off the bat, before even going to the museum, we've got a bunch of Porsche 911s. Wait, we are taking a 911 out for drive later on with my colleague. We have a 911 Cabriolet reserved for us. Tomorrow I'm also going to be driving the Porsche Taycan Turbo as well. So lots of cool cars to drive. And in case you weren't aware, Porsche is one of the very few companies outside Japan that is actually using Toyota production system, because they adopted it years ago. And I would say it's about the only company outside Toyota Lexus world that has a true high quality production system, which reflects in their product. They have a really good quality overall, and they have a superb manufacturing process, which I'll get to see in a couple of days. I can't film in the Porsche factory, but I'll tell you more about it after my visit. But for now, let's go into the Porsche Museum, and there's quite a bit of stuff. If you've never been to Stuttgart, you've never been to Porsche Museum, you've got to make a trip here, because not only can you see all the history of Porsche, but you can, like I said, rent a Porsche. We're renting a 911 convertible or Cabriolet, which is really cool, but you can rent everything from a Porsche Macan to even the new Macan EV, 718s, 911s, Cayenne, you name it. The entire lineup is available for rent. And it's not cheap, but you can rent it for 24 hours. And guess what? There's an Autobahn nearby, so you can actually take out these vehicles and drive as fast as you want within the limits of your own safety thing, obviously. But so that's a cool thing. We're going to go up here. This is a long escalator up to the top of the Porsche Museum. And it's one of those things you've got to do it once in your lifetime. You don't have to own a Porsche. I really don't think you need to own one to appreciate it. I happen to own a few different Porsche over the years. But even if you're not an owner, you can come here, and I really appreciate the history behind it, because there's so much history behind the brand. And also, I think it'll begin to help you understand why Porsche is at the very top of the premium brand. And even though we talk about Lexus a lot, they just don't have the same kind of brand recognition and the brand awareness by the consumers, because they don't have the same number of years of experience. But also, I just think Porsche does a far better job of reaching out to its customers and potential customers, and to keep them together through a network of places like a Porsche Club America. So they did a really good job. I'm going to get off the escalator right here, and right off the bat I'm going to show you a few things. Again, I'm doing this live stream style, so bear with me. But if you want to see the entire museum as if you are here at the museum, this is the best way to show you. So why is this thing here? Well, this is the first carriage vehicle that Ferdinand Porsche, who is the founder for Porsche, had something to do with. Believe it or not, this is an electric car driven by a small battery over here and a small motor. It took 1 week to charge this battery. Mr. Ferdinand Porsche, of course, is the inventor of Porsche, and he actually designed that unit for this carriage company. So that's why this thing is here. But if you actually move down here, there's a much more significant thing. There's many stairs down here, by the way, so I just want to make sure that my cameraman doesn't trip over here as we walk along. But this is the Porsche number 001. So this is the first official Porsche. It's the original car, although it's being restored, of course. It's not even the same color as the original color now. But this is the Porsche 356, and they call it number 1 because it's serial number 001, designed and built by Mr. Ferdinand Porsche himself. And we just call him Ferry Porsche for short. So this is why it's here. All the history of Porsche starts from here. Then we move into many different models, including the subsequent 356. So this one is a slightly newer, 1948. Still has the same classic shape and design. I mean, it's a really cute thing. You can buy a replica of these models right now, but you definitely cannot buy the originals because they're super expensive. Moving on to 1950, still have the iconic design, and you can kind of tell that some of the design themes are carried over to the modern Porsche, including the 911s, which is a real cool thing that they were able to do that. And so this one is a 1950 356 coupe. Again, it's by Ferdinand Porsche. Beautiful exterior, but even the interior looks gorgeous. Looks straight out of a movie set. They've restored these things to being better than new, I think. There's a whole restoration shop behind the scene as well that we might be able to get to see. There's a few other 356 Speedster prototypes all along here as well. So these are all hand-built prototypes and Speedster models that they used in racing and so forth. But we'll keep on moving here because there's so much to see, and it could take a while to go through everything. You might want to spend a few hours at the Porsche Museum. You can set up the factory tour as well, so do that in a pair. Hook up the museum, hook up the factory tour, and then rent a Porsche 911 for the day. It's 24-hour rental. I mean, that is a kind of dream trip for everyone. This is my 10th trip to Porsche head office, maybe 11th actually, so I've been here many times, but I've been away for several years, so it's good to come back again since we haven't come back after the pandemic. Here's a tractor here, and at one point Porsche did produce a tractor because of the farming requirements. Many different brands produce tractors. Even Lamborghini has a tractor. We're going to visit Lamborghini actually in a few days, and we'll get to see them, and they will have a Lamborghini factory tour, but also Lamborghini tractor as well. But going back here more, in now 1960, you can begin to see the shapes of the 911s. This is still called the 356, and you can kind of see the 911 contour, because this is the iconic predecessor to the 911. But here we go. We have Porsche 695. This is 1960, almost looking like a 911, but not yet, because the original Porsche 911 came after that. In 1963, this should be the 1963. I think this is the original one. Let's take a look here. This is 64, so almost with first generation, but it's first shown in 1963, same year as my birthday. So they also had an anniversary recently about 911s. And then we keep on moving here, and we have 1967. So you can see how much of the current Porsche is already shown here. For example, this one is a targa, and you can see the stainless steel band that goes over. Targa means just the front portion of the roof opens up. And again, even if you buy a 2024 Porsche 911 Targa, it has that steel band, which I believe is plastic now, but it still have the same kind of design. So it's really cool. It's a beautiful museum. It's evolved over the years. If you're into racing, then there is a lot of racing heritage, because Porsche has always been involved in many different types of race. If you are, if you are into, let's say, Le Mans, for example, they were big into Le Mans, so they have kind of a special day every year in June to celebrate that. But right here, we're going back to the history of the racing. I'm not going to go through every single cars here. It's kind of way too much to show you. But let's just take a quick walk through to end of this aisle, then I'm going to take you up. We got some cool cars that you might recognize if you're really into racing. You'll see some of the original Porsche race vehicles. They're all here. You're not supposed to touch them, but my hat's off to Porsche for allowing us to come so close. There's no fence or anything. You can walk right up to these models. Lots of display, lots of history. And here's another turbo. This is the 911 Turbo Cabriolet, 1981. This is one of the classic Porsche 911. This one looks like it's being restored to look like even better than the original. It just looks amazing. I'm not going to use my little gap measure tape to measure the gaps of these vehicles, but when I take a quick look through with my eye, the panel fit and the panel alignment looks fantastic. Obviously handcrafted to bring it to original glory. And there's more racing stuff here, so we'll take a quick look around here and then take you up to the 50th anniversary section. So they're showing how Porsche 959, of course, involved in racing, but you know what, I also want to show you this one. This is a 944 turbo. I don't know, for some reason, I was always fascinated by the 944 series. I did think about buying one, and they're actually quite practical in many ways, in the sense that they're not difficult to repair. And I've spoken to some owners of 944s, and they said they drive really well. So yeah, so this is a beautiful example of a 944 turbo. Does any of you guys have one? If you do, we'd love to hear more about your ownership experience with 944 or even 924s. Both are cool cars. Right now I have too many projects going on, so I definitely can't buy one, but it'll be a cool thing to do. So more race car over there, so we're gonna bypass that part for now just because it's all crowded. And then more examples of different types of racing that Porsche was involved over the years. And I think this is where maybe Lexus would struggle to compete with a brand like a Porsche, just because, you know, Lexus do have, through Toyota, Gazoo Racing, GR. And in Japan it's pretty big, but outside Japan, Gazoo Racing is still kind of an unknown entity. And even though we have the GR Corolla and the GR Yaris and GR Supra, GR 86, they don't have the same kind of a brand recognition as something like a Porsche. I came back now to this area just because we got some cool cars that I don't want to miss showing you guys. This is 911 GT3. So these are cars that were very much involved in a variety of different racing. This is 2021, so this is actually very recent. It's 30 years of Porsche involved in Super Cup. So this is actually a beautiful example of that. And then behind it we have a Porsche 928 GTS, another iconic car that I would love to own one of these days, but 928s are a lot more finicky in terms of maintenance and repair and stuff, so might want to stay out of that. But again, 944s, 924s, beautiful. And some really rare examples too. So we have over here a 968 CS Coupe. So this is like kind of 944 body, but designed for the racing as well. Okay, let's keep on going here. It's pretty crowded here, so we're gonna walk right through these people. We got the original Boxster over here. So this is 1996. This is what defined the whole Porsche convertible era, and if you recall, this is what transformed Porsche when they were struggling financially many decades ago. They were really struggling as a company financially back in the early 1990s and 2000, and you know, they actually hired ex-Toyota engineers and production managers, and they helped Porsche convert themselves and transform themselves to being a world-class company with really high-quality production and high-quality manufacturing. And that's why Porsche still today has one of the best quality among all the premium models. If you compare Porsche to its competitors, Mercedes, Audis, Alfa Romeos, I mean, you know, there's no comparison. The Porsche has almost Toyota-like quality, almost Lexus-like quality, while many other German manufacturers and other Italian manufacturers struggle to get their cars right. So we're gonna keep on moving here. We've got some interesting history. We have a Porsche Cayenne that is designed to be, you know, off-roader here. This is kind of a in thing today, very trendy thing today, but this is actually much earlier. This is 2007. So this is an earlier example of a Cayenne that has been dressed up for off-roading. We have Porsche Panamera, which at the time, of course, was a true controversy because it's a four-door Porsche, and this is 2009 example of that first generation. And a lot of people said Porsche Panamera shouldn't have existed because Porsche is a sports car brand, not a family brand, but the Panamera proved itself otherwise and brought new kinds of customers to Porsche. And then, as you know, we have the Macan and Cayenne now, so it's no longer just a sports car brand. And that's what has transformed Porsche to where it is today, because it is an all-around premium sports machine, sports brand. And it's able to produce not just the likes of 911, but also, as you know, Macans and Cayennes and Panameras. Here's a special car here. This is a 918 Spyder. This is 2010. You can't buy one even if you wanted to. And this is one of those extraordinary vehicles that you just won't find it. You can't find this anywhere. And it's just, this one I think might be a prototype. So it's really cool that they even have this car here with, look at the design. This is when Porsche began to show the kind of greenish yellow color scheme, as you can see, because this is a hybrid model, and that's why they start to use some of those color. More race car here, and then starting over here we have the turbo 50th anniversary exhibition, because this year is a 50th anniversary of Porsche, and you can actually see some example of an early turbo. This was involved in some of the racing cars. I mean, almost all the engine technology starts off in racing and then moves on to actual production models. We have example of another 924 turbo, I believe this one is, and this one is, what year is this one? 1982. So another beautiful examples of a Porsche 924 turbo. Okay, yeah. And then we have a Panamera turbo, which by the way has evolved quite a bit too. So this is a very recent one, 2016. We have a newer model now that has a different design. And then Cayenne. Who would have thought Cayenne would have a high performing machine, but you can get a turbo GT Cayenne, which is as expensive or more expensive than Porsche 911 in many cases. This is the 2021. Gorgeous dark green color with, they used this kind of gold-ish color. It's called neodyme. It's a special color they use in many of the Porsche wheels. And it's I think one of the most beautiful color. I'm not into gold at all, but this is kind of a mixture between gold and bronze, and it's really unique color. And then we have the Porsche Taycan, which we're driving in a couple of days. I think tomorrow I pick it up, and I'm driving the Cross Turismo model, which is the same as this one. I think it's one of the best example of Porsche Taycan, because it's not quite a sedan, not quite a hatchback, not quite a station wagon, but it almost like a mixture. And I find this design to be one of the best, but for some reason in North America they don't sell very well. They like real SUVs. So more history here, just a little bit more to go, but this part, I think, for me anyway, one of the more interesting places to see in this museum, because all the 911s are lined up here. So this is the 1974 911 turbo. Again, everything's turbo, and this kind of a pattern seats was iconic at the time, and you can still get that type of kind of plate design in the current Porsche. You can custom order it, configure it that way, and it's a very iconic part of the turbo models. This is a 1990 911 turbo. Beautiful example of iconic turbo with a big wing in the back and the bulging rear fenders. I mean, this thing is what makes 911 turbo so recognizable. Of course, today the turbos have a very different kind of design from the back, and we don't have this huge rear spoiler like this, but I wish we kept some of these iconic design. The spoilers in the current 911s are very different. And then we have a 911 Turbo Cabriolet. This is a 2003, so going back a little bit older. I can't believe back in those days we had this kind of orange color. Everything is orange inside, but at the time it looked great because the Boxster had a color like this, but with the standard Porsche silver here. And here's the newer example of a 911 Turbo S. Turbo S is the highest Porsche 911 you can buy. This is 2020 version, but Porsche, as you know, just introduced a new version of the 911 called a 992.2, and that one is now available with a hybrid for the very first time in history, so that's super exciting. I haven't driven that one yet, but I'm looking forward to maybe driving that a little bit down the road. And then here's an interesting booth that it's a little hard to tell by the video, but here's the 3 booth where you can stand and listen to different engine sound. Let's see if we can actually make that work. So if you just stand over here in the middle, and I have to push the buttons. There. Let's try that one more time. This is the Porsche RS Spyder sound. Yeah, so sound comes from the top, and then you can go to a different booth here. And this is the Porsche 911 Carrera RSR. So what is this? Oh, this is all digital now. I don't know how to use this. I can't quite figure this one out. And then here's another area with engine sound. And this is 911 2-liter GT3. So I think the little child is playing with it now. But you can hear the sound. 2-liter coupe. So we can hear that sound here. And we'll see if we can try to go over here. Oh, here we go. Can I step on? I guess there's a gas pedal. Oh, cool. Oh, look at that. Oh, even red line. Can you hear that? So when you hit the red line, which is 6,800, you actually kind of pause the engine for a moment. So there's an accelerator. And let's see if this one works too. Oh, yeah. 911 GT3. Oh. Now we're talking. And finally, we got Porsche 935. Beautiful. Almost make you feel like you're driving one, not quite. Here's a Porsche 911 Lego. I think this was introduced not too long ago. They call it the Big Brick as part of the Turbo 50th anniversary. It's supposed to look like a 911 built from Lego set. And I think it was done in conjunction with Lego. Yeah, so I think you can actually buy a smaller version of this as an actual kit, but it's super cute, cool design. And if you're bringing some kids, you can have a little workshop here, and I think you get to make a small car or something. So we're gonna finish off by looking at the last part of the 911 series. This is called a Turbo 2.1 from 1974. Traditional Boxster turbo design with a huge wing, but this is for racing. And then we've got Martini Racing here, one more. This is 1976. And then you can go into this one, which is, what year is this one? This one is 2018. So this is actually very new, Porsche 935. And then we have one more, which is even newer over there. And this one is a 2017 911 GT2 RS. You can obviously buy a production version of something like this. It's in bright yellow color, which isn't for me. But of course, Porsche will always show something current. So as you may or may not know, they also introduced a new Macan EV. So you can see that right here. This is the new Porsche Macan EV. They call it Macan Turbo EV, which kind of doesn't make sense because there's no engine in it. But this is 2024, just introduced. It didn't end up replacing the gas version of Macan because the gas Macan is so popular. They're going to keep both models intact. But you can see the iconic Macan design, shorter hood because there's no engine here, but same kind of design. They kept very similar design, and in the back end looks a little bit more like a 911. I think they brought some of that feel to it. I think the design is right on. I think I would have bought the Macan EV if I was looking for an EV model. I'm not. I just love gasoline powered cars, but beautiful design. And this is probably my number one favorite color right now. This is called the ice gray metallic. It's kind of cross between silver and white with lots of flakes, and it's probably the best example of a beautiful color within the Porsche lineup. You can get that color from many different models. A couple more cars to show you, and then we're going to wrap up this beautiful museum. It doesn't seem that big, but you can easily spend half a day here. So just to summarize again, don't forget you can book the Porsche Museum together with the Porsche factory tour. It's not very expensive. You can have an individual tour or a group tour. But you can also pay separately to rent an actual Porsche. It could be 911, could be a Macan, it could be Macan EV. So you can do that while you're in Stuttgart. They drive on the same side as North America, so it's easy to drive a car in Germany. It's not difficult. We have a 911 Turbo here. This is 2024, so this is the latest version of the Turbo. Absolutely iconic model. And like I said, the wing in the back isn't so big anymore like in the old days. But who can deny the fact that this might be still the best looking sports car around? You can always go higher into Ferrari or Lamborghini, but for me, Porsche brand is iconic. And it's special to me because they adopted Toyota production system so many years ago, and the quality and production system is second to none among the premium brand. So this is the Porsche Museum. I hope you enjoyed my quick tour. There's so much to see. Come and visit Porsche in Stuttgart, go to the factory, go and rent a car and enjoy a couple of days here because it's really fascinating. There's also Mercedes Museum not too far away. They also have a factory tour a bit further away, about half an hour away. And if you go an hour north, you can go to Audi Museum and Audi factory tour as well. There's so much to see in Germany. And of course, you can always buy a Porsche and pick it up right here in Stuttgart and drive around with your own car and have them ship it back to North America as well. They have that program. So that's the ultimate thing to do. I hope you find one for yourself. Maybe you can buy one from me as well. But anyway, for now, I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you guys later.